everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay or Wait. So today I'm going to be reviewing The Handmaid's Tale Season 3, Episode 13, Mayday, okay? And Mayday to me, y'all, I don't know where my mind has been this entire week, but I was literally at work today, and then someone told me like about a conference call we had, and I was like, we only had that on Wednesday, and they was like, it is Wednesday, and I was like, oh snap. When I tell you these people finna come for my neck because I don't have this episode out, just pray for me, y'all, because I haven't recorded in a whole week. So I hope that I can be the person that you guys want me to be right now to talk about this season finale that literally had me in tears for the last 20 minutes of the episode. I was happy I didn't put no makeup on yet because it would have had little cry marks, everything. So I'm sad. This is our last episode together until next year. It was already renewed for season 4. So The Handmaid's Tale we'll be back. We just do not know when. But let's talk about this episode. So first, we just gonna get the little raggedy people out of the way, the little raggedy Waterfords. We're gonna talk about Serena and Fred real quick. I'm so happy I ain't gotta talk about them for a whole nother year. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. So I was really upset with Mr. Tuello and his treatment of Serena. And I don't know if he like has feelings for her, he's attracted to her, I don't know what it is, but he's sitting up here talking to her. She's basically fulfilled her obligations that she had, you know, having all of the meetings and stuff like that, you know, giving them information that they need. And so he tells her like, you know, here's a card, you can start leaving the facility next week. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute, why does she get to leave the facility? Then he talking about you can go find your own place. And she was like, you know, I just want to be here for my daughter. Ma'am, this is not your daughter. That's not your daughter. I don't even understand. Like, I get it that they needed Serena to capture Fred and to get information, you know, about Gilead. So hopefully they can figure out a way to defeat him. But I do not understand why it is okay for her to have parental rights, visitation rights to visit with baby Nicole. I don't understand why this is okay. Why she keeps insisting that like I'm her mother. I was just like, it just really bothered me. And then Mr. Tuello, I ain't gonna get nobody's name wrong. Hopefully the last episode I don't mess up anybody's name. Mark or Mr. Tuello, however you want to call it. He just really bothered me. So we see that after he gets done talking to Serena that he goes to Fred, who is being interrogated by women. I love that the women were the ones to interrogate him as he's basically talking, giving all the little info up about Gilead. They're asking more, you know, about the types of meetings that they had, you know, what the structure looks like, you know, what happens during these meetings on these committees, trying to get more information on Gilead. And so we see that Mr. Tuello comes to talk to him, and he talks about how thorough that the women are in the questions that they ask him. And so he says that I have some information for you on Serena. And I was like, oh, you up here snitches? Snitches get stitches, Fred. But go ahead, snitch on her because she needs to pay as well. So Mr. Tuello tells him like, hey, she's protected. Like, that was the whole point of, you know, her working with us, of her bringing you here. Anything that she did with you in Gilead, she was under duress. And so therefore, there's nothing that you can do. And he was like, boo-boo. That ain't what he said. But he was like, I got some tea for you today that's going to bypass anything that you had with her. And so we see that at the end of the episode, we see that he goes to find Serena, and Serena's playing with a baby, and then he basically tells her that she's under arrest. And so she was like, what are you talking about? What's going on? And then she basically like, you are under the arrest for the rape of June Osborne. And she was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, you made your driver rape her and impregnate her so you can have a child. And so she was like, they had a relationship. He's like, boo-boo, it don't matter. You are trash. He didn't say it to her, but I was saying that. I was like, that's what you get, Raggedy Serena. I hope you rot in hell with raggedy ass Fred. I hope that y'all get cells right next to each other so you can see each other's raggedy face every single day. I was so happy. I was like, Lord, thank you so much for making Raggedy Serena pay, because I just could not deal if I had to watch a whole season with her chilling, living her best life, getting keys to the city of Toronto and stuff. I was just like, no, it's not about to go down like that. So I was very happy with how all of that wrapped up. And then she gonna try to keep calling Mark's name. Mark! I'd have been like, Beach is Mr. Tuello to you, okay? But, yes. I was just like, thank you. I appreciate it. I like how that wrapped up. I can't wait to see the trials. I can't wait to see Serena up here sweating, just looking all just disappointed because she made the wrong decision. You shouldn't have been snitching on Fred in the first place because you had sins that you was trying to hide too, boo-boo. So, that's pretty much what happened with them. So let's go to June, and so we can get into how I bawled my eyes out for 20 minutes straight. So essentially the episode opens up with June and other women being taken, and I was like, hold up, like did they get caught? Like, is this where they start with the end? So you know they got caught, and then we go back to see like how did they get caught? But no, this was actually what happened to June when she was captured after she was taken away from Hannah. And so essentially we were revisited back to the cages that we saw when Joseph brought June to pick which women got to, you know, stay in Gilead and which ones got to, stay where they're at and which ones got to go to the colonies. So we see, all the women kind of screaming. They don't know what's happening. Everyone's like hysterical, trying to figure out what's going on. And so one of the funny things was, I saw that one of the girls was like, I'm going to sue all of y'all and I'm going to be living in a beach house. And I was like, was that Janine? Because it looked like it was Janine. And then June grabbed her and told her like, girl, hold on, stop it. But she talks about how ruthless they were. And so we see the men calling them like bees. And I was like, let me tell you one thing. I would have been dead the first day. Because let him have called me a bee. I would have been like, excuse me, who do you think you're talking to? Excuse me. No, we don't talk to me like that. But she talks about how ruthless somebody like that could be. And you really would have to be ruthless to overthrow the government, come up with this whole plan. Like, you do have to have that type of spirit in you to be able to carry something like this out. And so we see that she's begging one of the men to tell her what happened with her daughter Hannah, that she's been separated. And so he basically just ignores her. And so one of the things that I love that she says is, it seems so easy for these men, but that's how they won. And victory goes to the hardest heart, to the ruthless goes the spoils. And so really, to be able to do the things that they do, create this society where they rape women, but in their minds, they think that they're saving the world, that they're helping grow the numbers to reproduce. And you have to just have no soul, no heart to think that it's okay to rape women. Day in and day out, every single month, and to give women no rights. They can't read or anything like that. And so I just think it's very interesting how she starts off and how you can really see the contrast to who June was when this first happened to who she is today. And so when you see the innocence that June has as she's pleading with the guardians to tell them about her daughter, to now where she's basically coming up with her own operation to smuggle out these children of Gilead. And so she says, like, I'm ruthless now. And I think that is even more interesting because when we saw in last week's episode, when Fred is talking to Luke, when he says that I've changed her and Gilead has changed her, even though he was being disrespectful as hell, he had a point. June is different from who she was when she first kind of arrived in, this new world of Gilead to who she is today. And that's why she is the one who is okay with risking her life to sneak these children out. So we see that she's at the grocery store. She's coming out of the store. Everyone's putting soap in her purse, her bag. And I'm like, why are they putting out this soap? And then Janine, of all people, gonna go up like, yay, and put a little thing in there. I was like, Janine, you couldn't just be on the DL just a little bit. Like, dang. So, of course, Lydia sees her, and she goes up to June, like, what was that all about? She was like, it's Janine. And I was like, well, she had a point. It's Janine. So, essentially, she says, like, I hope that you haven't picked up any bad habits from being back in the Lawrence's house. And then she kind of has a talk, like, that these women look up to you. And, I just want to make sure that like, your new commander won't tolerate any of this stuff. So we know that they're thinking of taking her out of Commander Lawrence's house and putting her with another commander. I don't know if that's because Eleanor has died. I thought that he would just take another wife. I don't know what happens now. Maybe somebody can tell me like what is supposed to happen in situations like this. I'm not sure. But yeah, so June goes back home, and so she is with Sienna. Sienna is basically complaining, talking about how Beth is sick And then she was like, no, she's not sick, it's just nerves. And then she was just like, she can tell that they're withholding information from her. And so she's becoming frustrated. She was like, look, boo-boo, let me tell y'all something, okay? Before all of this Gilead mess, I was taking my MCATs, okay? I am smart, okay? I am beautiful. I am doing the dang old thing. I'm supposed to be a radiologist, okay? I am not an effing child. And then June was like, well, stop acting like an effing child and waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. I said, ooh, I felt that. I think Sienna felt that. She felt disrespected. I said, you should, because she just read you for your entire life. And so Joseph comes in and is like, hey, can you like take one of the wrinkles out of my jacket? And then she's like, okay. And then June made like a little smirk, like, see, bitch, this is exactly what I'll be talking about. And then she was like, no, you know what? I have other things to do. I have to help of Joseph right now get some stuff together, so I won't be able to do that. And then she like walks out and she takes the stuff downstairs. And so he was like, she's being a little prickly today. And then she was like, oh, no, she's not. I think you forgot what a strong woman looks like. I said, oh, so June just gonna be coming with the shade for everybody this entire episode. I am here for all of this. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. And then even Joseph had to look like, well, shit, look like you a little upset too. So we see that they are making food for the kids. For the longest, I was trying to figure out what in the hell is June doing with all of this soap, because she kept taking the soap, cutting the soap up, putting the soap in a pot. And I was like, what is she doing with this? I'm so confused. So they're making sandwiches for the journey, taking water. And then we see that she uses the soap to cover the windows, and also too, pretty nifty, to put it on the gate that everyone will be coming through. So basically they it wouldn't creak, it wouldn't make any noise. So dang, I just realized that I left it on autofocus. So I apologize if it zooms in and out. Hopefully it didn't do it, but I apologize. I forgot to switch that setting, but I just noticed it. So we see that before she can finish making preparations, that we see that Martha arrives with a young girl. And so they come in and she was like, is this May Day? And then they looking like, June is like, yeah. And then she's like, where'd you come from? She's like, we came from Lexington. And I'm like, Lexington, Kentucky? Or is there a Lexington in Boston? Because, ma'am, you walked that entire way. And so I'm assuming they came from Lexington, Kentucky, because we saw the little girl's feet as June is basically, treating her wounds of her feet. I don't know what happened. And she basically has this conversation with her, and she says, like, what was it like before? I mean, what is, like, this place we're going to, what is it like? And so June is saying it's like it was before, and she says, I don't remember what it was like. And so it's crazy because this is one of the first touchy moments that I almost cried, but I was, like, being a G about it. I was like, okay, I can just roll my eyes a little bit, make the tears go back. But when she starts telling her that, you can wear what you want to wear, you can read, you can do whatever you want to do. And then she asks her, like, will God still love me? And so it's just crazy to me how we don't really think about the kids because they're so young. Like, we think about the implications for them once they mature, go into puberty. But the fact of how these children have been brainwashed, how these men have used religion against these children to make them feel less than, or to make them feel as though being who you are, loving who you want to love, that is basically going to make God not love you. And so I found it really touching, the conversation that they have. I think it reaffirms believing in June. It's what June needed to hear, to know that she's doing the right thing, that this mission is needed for children like Kiki. And so I was like, all in my feelings. And then all of a sudden, Kiki, Martha, Maggie want to jump stupid, mess up the plan, talking about, I can't do this now. I'm scared. I got to go. She'll forgive me. And then Beth was like, girl, now you know they finna kill you on sight when you get back. You drugged her child and stole her and brought her here. You not making it alive, okay? So Maggie's trying to leave. Then June goes upstairs. I'm like, why is June being so calm right now? Like, I don't understand what's happening. June's going upstairs to get her gun. So she comes back downstairs and she pulls the gun on her, like, look, bish. That ain't what she said, but, like, basically that's what she was saying. You're going to stay here. You're not going to mess any of this up. Because I would have been like, first of all, didn't nobody tell your little raggedy behind to be coming out here during daytime? We said we move at night. Is it night outside? No, it's a sun. I see sunshine and rainbows. No, that's not the time to leave. So you already put us in jeopardy trying to be early to the party. You know, the person to come early and you just like, why are you here? Like, the party hasn't started yet. But yes, so she pulls a gun on her. And then she ends up snatching Kiki from Maggie. Maggie runs, and then Beth is like, just let her go. And then June was like, no. And so she's running. I'm thinking that June's about to shoot her. But I'm like, girl, how you just gonna have a gun go off in broad daylight at the Lawrence house? I was just like, that's not smart either. And so Maggie gets away because June hesitates to shoot her. And then Kiki comes outside, and then she pulls the gun on Kiki. So Beth come out like, bitch, is you crazy? What is wrong with you? And so she takes Kiki back inside. And so we see that June is basically sitting at the table now, and she's kind of just contemplating, like, what the hell did I just do? And Commander Lawrence comes in, and she's like, you're supposed to be at a meeting. He's like, well, I had to leave. She's like, no, you need to be there. Like, you need to keep up appearances. And he's like, it'll be fine, I promise. And so he says, how's the girl? And I'm like, how did he know about the girl so quick? And so she's like, she's fine. We're going to get her out. And he was like, yeah, we're going to get her home in Lexington. And I was like, hold up, bitch, that wasn't the plan. And so he was like, the mama woke up, realized that the girl was gone. Someone spotted the Martha and the daughter. And so now they're searching everyone's home. And, like, we need to call this entire plan off. And I was like, well, damn. Like, y'all really finna do this in the season finale? Y'all bet not. And so June, I guess she heard what I was saying through the TV screen. And so, essentially, she basically tells him, nah, I'm not sending her back to this life where she would be raped at 14, where, she can't read, she can't write, she can't love who she wants to love. And I was just like, I felt the entire speech that she gave him. And he was just like, nah, like, I'm pulling the plug on this. And she was like, hold up, boo-boo, wait a minute. So she says no. And then she says, you're not in charge. So what I need you to do is I need you to take your raggedy behind to the office, figure out another route, because they were starting to put up roadblocks because it's going to cause an issue for them trying to get the girls out. And so he was like, you're in my house. And I was like, sir, why are you trying to assert your authority now? This ain't your house. Then June was like, sir, like, you really thought that this is your house? She was like, I am in charge. And then she had her little gun. And then she just walked off, and I was just like, well, damn, like, she did just punk you in your own house. Like, I don't know how someone manages to do that, but that's what June basically did. And I was just like, yes, June, I still think you're right for all the stuff you did at the beginning of the season, but you are right with me for this episode. So we see that Sienna is taking charge again, and so they're trying to figure out what is the best route for them to get everybody out. And so Sienna says it's closer if we go through the woods, through the creek. It's a shorter walk. And so basically, they go to map out that area. I was like, I see you, Sienna, because you said I am not an effing child. I am smart. I am kind. Like, I'm going to do what I need to do. And I was like, yes, Sienna, coming up with all the ideas to lead everybody to freedom. So when they come back from actually marking the route that they need to take, we see that Janine comes in, and she basically says that they know that they caught the Martha, and now they're looking for the little girl. So they are checking all the houses. This is going to be a real issue. And so when they walk in, she's looking to see where the kids are. And then all of the kids are in the living room, and Joseph is reading them a story. And this is like one of the other times I almost cried, but I had to be a G about it. And I had to, like, put my little thug tears in the back of my eyes again, because I was just like seeing all those kids, and then seeing Joseph after he got punked. He could have, like, took it to heart and tried to be petty, but he was reading to the kids, and I was like, okay, I'm sorry. So June basically says, like, hey, we gotta get everybody out right now. We have to go because they're across the street. They're checking houses. And so June asks Commander Lawrence to come with her. And he says, no, I think that Eleanor would have wanted me to stay and clean up my mess. And I was really confused because I was like, I thought that June was staying. I thought June had always said that she wasn't going to leave, that she was just going to get everybody out, and wait for Hannah. So I was really confused by that whole conversation. But I appreciate Joseph trying to, take charge of, like, clean up the mess that he started, since he helped create all of this. And so I like how he says, she says, like, she asks that guy grants him peace, and he says, so and also to you, June Allensborn. And so he, like, calls her by her real name. And so they part ways. And so they're basically going out, and They're walking. They almost got caught. We saw the Guardians pop up. And I was like, Lord, my heart can't take this right now. This is too much. They gonna get caught. They gonna get killed. And I ain't gonna be able to take it. I'm gonna be all in my feelings. But they make it. And then they see the plane. And then they smile. And I was like, nah, because ain't nobody ever happy. Remember last time June got her behind on the plane? It didn't go too well. So I was just like, something was about to happen. And of course, a Guardian comes up. And he's in the gate. He's like taking a smoke break or whatever. And so they're just like, what are we supposed to do? We got to cross over. They're going to see us. And so June basically decides that she's going to stay and create a distraction while Rita and everybody else gets the kids over there. So this is getting to the moment where the tears came and I couldn't hide my little thug tears anymore. So she basically tells Kiki like, hey, I'm sorry that it's been so hard. And Kiki was like, it's okay. Sometimes you just got to do what you have to do. And then that's when June knows what she has to do. And she has to create a diversion. It has to just be her. And so she gives Kiki to Rita. And she asks Rita, like, please take care of her. Make sure that she's safe. And Rita was just like, you don't have to do this. No, like, don't do it. Which also I forgot to say, the one that Rita brought, her Martha friend was real ruthless because she killed everybody in the house in order to get the girl out, get the baby out. I was just like, oh my goodness, that was so much, but I was here for that. I don't want people to die, but if it had to be a committed wife, I'm just saying, but yeah. But I just had to bring that up, and I love that Rita was here for the journey. They're reunited again, them giving Rita so much to do in this episode because Rita is the one who does lead the girls, the children, to the plane. But in the midst of that, June basically picks up a rock and she's gonna like throw it to distract them. And this is when I start crying out because I heard somebody in the like woods. I heard a little twig, and then it was the other handmaids and the Marthas, and they came to help June. And they picked up the rocks and they started throwing rocks, and I just started crying because I was just like, this is too much. I can't take it. So some of the Marthas ended up getting shot because they were shooting them, but they kept throwing the rocks as Rita is getting all of these kids over. Even though I was like, y'all didn't see all these kids in y'all peripheral, but I guess if you shooting your gun, but still like you don't see all these people, I'm just gonna ignore that. We just gonna let this go for the sake of television. So we see that Janine's crying, and then she looks over and sees Sienna crying on the ground, and she kisses Janine. She says everything's gonna be okay, and I was like, Lord, they finna really kill June. I was like, can y'all kill the lead character after all of this? And so she stands up, and they're like, no, don't do it. And I was like, no, don't do it. And so then essentially she like stands up, and he stops, and she starts walking towards him, and he's like, hey, stop. Then she started running, and I was like, oh snap, this girl really finna die because the dude's shooting at her, chasing her. And so basically he ends up shooting her, and then she's laying on the ground. He goes to grab her, and then he pulls her over, and I was like, yeah, she got a gun. And she was like, boom. And so then I was like, oh snap, I think she faked it. She didn't really get shot. Then she started limping, and I was like, oh snap, I think she did get shot. She gonna die, y'all. They start playing a little music, and I was just like, I don't understand what's going on right now. Then she tells old dude, she's like, hey, it's okay. Like, just tell them you're all clear. And so false alarm. And so he does that, and she was like, thank you. And then she shoots, and I was like, oh, so you came to play. Like, you weren't taking no prisoners, June. So everyone basically gets over. June kind of falls out because she was shot in her stomach. We see that she does confirm to us that she's been shot. And then we see the plane go over June, and we know that everyone got to safety. And I was literally bawling at this point because I know that I'll go into that after the end because I might start getting choked up, and I ain't got time to be redoing this again. So essentially, we see that the plane ends up arriving, and the plane arrives in Canada, and we see Moira, Luke, Emily, they're all heading up the volunteer efforts. And so we see when Moira goes up and she sees all the children and the Marthas. This is when I start crying again because I was just like, oh my God. And then Kiki asks Moira, is this a place where I can wear what I want? And I just broke down crying all over again. And we see that Kiki gets off the plane, and Emily's asking her what's her name. And then we hear Rebecca, and then this dad, one of the volunteers, like that was his kid. And then we see Luke, which absolutely broke my heart because Luke is looking for everybody to come off of the plane. And then basically he's like looking for Hannah and he doesn't see her. And then my heart breaks for him. We see that Emily sees Rita. And so Emily introduces Luke to Rita. She was like, "You're Luke." And she hugs him. And she's like, "It's so nice to meet you." And she tells him that June did all of this. And so I just broke down because it sucks because Luke has been so faithful to June, and to see all these people coming to Canada and it's still not Hannah, it's still not June, it just makes me so sad for him. But I still do want there to be more for Luke, Emily, and Moira to do because they're good characters and I don't know why we're wasting them like this. Like, I haven't seen Emily since like whatever the last episode she was in a couple episodes ago. So I really want season 4 for there to be a huge focus on what is happening in Canada. Like, please and thank you. I just don't understand. But we see that afterwards, we see that it comes back to June as she's having like this flashback of a day when Luke and Hannah are playing outside, having a good time together. And we see that the other handmaids came back to get her. And so they pick her up and she starts quoting a scripture when she talks about, and the Lord says, I've seen my people in bondage and I've heard them cry and I know their sorrows and I come to, deliver them, so forth and so forth. And so the TV show ends. And so I got really choked up watching this episode. And I think that sometimes when we are watching these shows, especially when they have so many similarities to what is happening in real life, that, it's hard because when I saw the conversations that the little girl, that Kiki was asking June about how they live in a society where because they're a woman, they have no rights. They can't educate themselves. They can't educate their children. And they're basically just used as a vessel to bring life into this world. And so sometimes it gets really hard to watch it because as much as we know that this is just a show based on a book, that their futures are not that off from where we are today. And so that's why it was so hard to watch. And I really love the journey that they had for June because June was highly problematic. And I haven't forgotten about all of the problematic things that she's done over the past 3 seasons. But I think that this episode, and it really ties into what happened after, we see her recite the names of Eleanor and of Matthew, of everyone who has lost their life to Gilead, and her refound purpose that she has after Matthew dies giving birth to her child, about what her purpose is and what she was put on this earth to do, and that she will stop at nothing to make sure that these kids are free to not have to live in bondage by their oppressors. So I think that they did a really great job of making the last couple of episodes very interesting. It was a slow burn, but I think that there has to be a slow burn to get to this point. I hope that we have more episodes like this in season 4. But I think overall, I like the direction that they're going. By the end of season 3, what we will see in season 4 with the Resistance. I hope that we get more screen time with what is happening in Canada, especially since Fred and Serena are there, and what are the implications of the crimes that they have committed. But yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys so much. Like, you guys are so amazing. I don't know who's hyper. Like, it's between American Horror Story, Handmaid, and Euphoria. Like, you guys are like the 3 hypest like TV crowds that I have, and I'm gonna miss you guys so much. I don't know how long we're gonna be apart from each other, but if you want me to review other TV shows, like, let me know what you want me to do. But it's been so great chatting with you guys every single week for The Handmaid's Tale. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts. I enjoyed season 3, slow burn. They really picked it up, and I thought they did a very great job of keeping us invested. It was a very intense season finale, and I like to see where they're gonna go in season 4. So those are my thoughts on The Handmaid's Tale, season 3, episode 13, Mayday. As always, my name is Sharonda from Pay Your Weights, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit that notification bell. And I love you guys 3000. I'll see you soon.